Okay, so let's go over the whole picture of the mimer, and then we'll go to the conclusion where we're up to. The mimer is trying to understand the pasuk and the Megillah. Therefore, these days are called Purim because of the lottery that Haman made. That's why we have the celebration of Purim. Now, a name in Torah isn't just a name; it's the essence of something. So the truest story of Purim is what is the real meaning of Purim? Purim is the lottery. And this gave us a bit of a question, because the lottery that was made by Haman. It was made for the purpose of destroying us. So why is the essence of Purim about the lottery that Haman made? How does that make sense? So what we started to do to address this question is to go towards the very essence of Purim. The Zohar says, what is Purim? The Zohar says Yom Kippur is a day that's almost like Purim. They keep Purim. Purim is even higher than Yom Kippur. What's the commonality of Purim and Yom Kippur? So we said there's two things that they have in common. Both of them have a lottery. On Purim, there's a lottery again of Haman. And Yom Kippur has a lottery between the two goats, which one's going to be offered as a sacrifice and which one's going to be cast off the cliff. So Yom Kippur is a day that has a lottery, and Purim is not just it has a lottery, but lottery is the very core of what Purim is about. That's why Yom Kippur is only like Purim, because Purim is all lottery. That's the meaning of the Zohar. That's one aspect of the commonality. Another aspect, and I remember, Purim, Yom Kippur, and have the common denominator. Yom Kippur and Purim are both associated with a level beyond Yud Kei Vav Kei, beyond the level of the spiritual cosmos, beyond the shtalshelus. On Yom Kippur it says, Lefnei Havayta Torah, before Hashem you'll be cleansed, and the cleansing in Yom Kippur is from a level beyond the spiritual cosmos. It's from a level beyond Yud Kei Vav Kei, beyond any definition. And similarly, on Purim, the fact that Hashem's name is not mentioned in the Megillah, it's hinted to, but it's not mentioned, is because Purim is a level which is beyond Yud Kei Vav Kei, higher than the spiritual cosmos. That's the commonality between these two holidays of Purim and Yom Kippur. And this is also the reason why Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. There is a pasuk which says, look down from your holy abode, look down to your people, Yisrael. We didn't mention the pasuk in the Maimer, but the pasuk talks about how we ask Hashem to look at us, even though we may be Amcha, maybe we're called your people, which people is a derogatory term in among other ways to describe the Jewish people. Amcha is a lower one, but despite our mistakes, still, you should look at us. Why should you look at us? You should look at us because even the Peishi Yisrael, even the lowest of Israel, are full of mitzvah like a pomegranate. But there are other things that are wrong. On Yom Kippur, we say to Hashem, don't look at just the fact that we're doing mitzvahs, because then you could also look at other things we're doing. We say to Hashem, look at the fact that, look at us, look at our very core. Look at who we are, we're your children, and forgive us. That's why Yom Kippur, Hashem forgives us for our Vedas, because Yom Kippur on Yom Kippur, it's revealed this core bond of the Jew and the Hashem. And that's why Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. Yom Kippur, Hashem it reveals this bond between us and Hashem. Therefore, no matter what we've done, we're still Hashem's children. But Purim is an even greater day of atonement than Yom Kippur. The Rebbe Rashab speaks at length that there are two reasons why the Talmud says the Jewish people deserve to be killed, either because they enjoyed the feast of Achashverosh or because they bowed down to idols. According to both explanations, there was a chil Hashem, there was a desecration of Hashem's name. The Gemara says in Yuma that when there's a desecration of Hashem's name, the only way to have a kapara, the only way to atone for desecration of Hashem's name, is with death. By the way, what you guys all have in common, single commonality, is that you're all afraid to open your screen. Just pointing that out. Anyways, so Yom Kippur and Purim. So that's what was unique about Purim, despite the fact. Thank you, Dr. Bressman. Despite the fact that there is a chil Hashem, despite the fact there's a desecration of Hashem's name, and And Yom Kippur cannot cause atonement for that. Yom Kippur can only cause an atonement for loisase, for the averos that don't have kares in them. Then there are other methods of atonement like pain, which is used chas v'shalom when there is an avera that is kares, an avera which is punishable by death. But thank you. But the unique power of Purim is that despite the fact that there is no way to cause atonement, there is no way that there can be forgiveness for this, yet Hashem forgives us anyways. So Yom Kippur and Purim both have a revelation of something which is beyond the spiritual cosmos. But Yom Kippur is somewhat limited. And therefore Yom Kippur has a lot of conditions to how the atonement works. There has to be teshuvah. And even when there's teshuvah, there's only a certain kind of thing that could be atoned for. On Purim, there is an atonement for every Aveira. Even the Aveiras of Chil Hashem, which cause desecration of Hashem's name, which there is no, in the books, there's no way to atone for that without death. Yet Purim atones for that too. And not only that, Purim is not a day of atonement. It's not a day which is focused on atonement. Yom Kippurim, the day which is like Purim, it's a day which is, Kippurim means a day like Purim, and it's a day of atonement. It's only like Purim, therefore the focus is tshuva, the focus is atonement. Yom Kippur, Purim on the other hand, is higher than Yom Kippur. It's a day of joy, and without the focus on atonement, without the focus on tshuva, there's an atonement for everything. And this is associated also with the other commonality of Purim and Yom Kippur, the idea of lottery. What's the idea of a lottery? A lottery is something that you do when everything is equal. So there is a level of godliness. There is a way Hashem contracts himself which is a source for creation. And at the level where Hashem contracts his life to be a source for creation, so our mitzvahs and conversely, the opposite of our mitzvahs has an impact. And because it has an impact, there is a decision made in heaven of a consequence depending upon what we're doing. On Yom Kippur and Purim, there's a revelation of something which is higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei, higher than the spiritual order, where nothing really matters at that level. Just like by human being, why do you make a lottery? You make a lottery because both A and B are equal to you. So in Yom Kippur, it's a revelation of a higher level of godliness where our deeds don't matter. And since our deeds don't matter, it's a revelation instead of our core, therefore Hashem forgives us. That's the meaning of the atonement of Yom Kippur and the atonement of Purim, because it is a revelation of Gedol. And it's higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. Now we said in Yud Kei Vav Kei itself, there are different parts. There are 4 letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. The first letter of Yud Kei Vav Kei is the letter Yud. The lottery is above Yud Kei Vav Kei, meaning it's above the letter Yud. But the letter Yud generally refers to Chachma. But on the Yud itself, there is a little crown. And the crown on the Yud represents not just the level called Chachma, the level of wisdom, the first sphera of Atzilus. The little crown on the Yud represents the desire of Hashem, which is above Atzilus, the desire for the existence of Atzilus, the desire for the worlds. So on Yom Kippur and Purim, there's a revelation not just from a level beyond Chachma, but there's a revelation even higher than Hashem, even higher than Keser, even higher than Hashem's desire. It's higher than the entire Yud Kei Vav Kei, even the crown on the letter, even higher than the level of desire. That's the unique revelation of Yom Kippur and Purim, that there's a revelation beyond Yud Kei Vav Kei, beyond the order, beyond Hishtalshelus. And that's why there's such a great atonement. Okay, so that was the first part of the mind. So then we had a question, if that's so incredible for us when there is this lottery kind of attention from Hashem, that our actions, our deeds don't matter, and therefore Hashem forgives us, why in the world would a Haman want to make a lottery? What was his intent to make a lottery? So to explain this, we began talking about the climate of Purim. What was happening at that time? At the time of Purim, the king Achashverosh was the ruler of the world. He was one of the 10 people or 10 entities in history. Hashem is the first and the last, who ruled the entire world. And it says in his time, Hushcharush Pneim Shal Yisrael. The Jewish people's faces were blackened with pain because of the way he treated us. So where did this come from? Why was there such a horrible, why were things so difficult? It says the reason things were so difficult was because the word Achashverosh also means Acharis V'Reisha Shalei. Achashverosh also means the beginning and the end are his. Achashverosh represents a level of godliness which is beyond the spiritual cosmos, where there is no beginning and there's no end. It's infinite. Things, and since things are infinite, the level of infinity, everything is equal. And therefore, because of Hashem's infinity, he doesn't pay attention to the deeds of the Jewish people versus the deeds of the other nations, and it's all equal, it's all the same. Compared to infinity, there's no virtue of our actions against their actions. That's what was happening at that time. And we brought this verse, this pasuk, which says, you can have a cobweb in a king's palace, you can have a spider in the king's palace, even though a spider makes dirt, and you would kick a spider out of your house. But a king's palace is so vast, the king doesn't mind there being a cobweb, doesn't mind there being a spider, because he is a huge king over so many countries. Who cares if there's a spider? In a similar way, compared to the infinity of Hashem, Klippa is insignificant, and Kedusha is insignificant, everything's insignificant, and therefore there could be nourishment to Klippa as well. Klippa could also be nourished from the perspective of infinity. That's what the Medrash, whenever this mentioned Medrash, this Maimer, and other places, so this bring connections to this Medrash. Medrash says, when Hashem created darkness, what's the meaning of Hashem creating darkness? Medrash says, the creation of darkness means the creation of the actions of the wicked. What's the meaning of Hashem creating light? Hashem created the actions, the deeds of the tzaddikim. Says the Medrash, I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he likes better. Does he like the actions of the tzaddikim, or does he like the actions that are shayim? What do you mean you don't know? From the perspective of knowledge, of course tzaddikim are better. From the perspective of tzishtalshlus and the perspective of atzilus, there's nothing to choose from. Of course, the actions of tzaddikim are better. A choice, really, the word choice can only be something that applies to Hashem's essence. Why? Why could a choice only apply to Hashem's essence? Whenever we make a choice, why are we making a choice? We're making a choice because our mind says this is better. We have a desire, we have a taiva for something. We have you chose to wear something today, and it wasn't that you chose, it was more like the thing chose you, because you're born with an affinity to that choice. Because of the way you woke up, because of what appeals to you, that's why you chose whatever you chose. So it's not like I chose it, it's more like I was chosen by whatever my choice meant, but whatever my choice was. The true meaning of a choice is only when things are completely insignificant, when things are completely equal, where things can go both ways. And that's the meaning of a lottery. A lottery means that there's no reason I should choose A or B, it's all equal to me. So because of Achashverosh, because of the infinity that was revealed at the time of the story of Purim, it was possible for the enemies of the Jewish people to be nourished and for Achashverosh to make all these decrees against us. But Haman wasn't satisfied with just having spiders in the king's palace. Imagine that the spider doesn't just make dirt in the king's palace, make cobwebs, but the spider starts dismantling the king's throne, whatever. This starts causing damage to the kingdom. Then the king will get rid of the spider. When there is a revelation which is somewhat infinite, then some things aren't important, and there's a possibility for some lower kind of entities to be nourished. Our level called Achashverosh still has some relationship to Ishtalshalus. That's why in his name there is beginning and end. So Haman didn't just want there to be nourishment to Klippa. Haman wanted it to be the destruction of all the Jewish people, men, women, and children in one day. Since that's what he wanted, he had to reach an even higher level, which is even, so to speak, more infinite, as we learned in the Maimer what the meaning of more infinite is, whatever, I'm not getting into that now, from a higher level of godliness, which has no relationship to the spiritual cosmos at all, where everything is completely equal, where you could say, I don't know what he wants, Tzaddikim and Rishayim, then there is a room to choose evil, not just there's room, but there's a likelihood that evil will be chosen. So that's what Haman was doing. That was what Haman's intent was. That's why he thought he would have a chance. From the perspective of logic, from the perspective of the level of godliness, which is the source for creation, of course he has no chance. We're better. From the perspective of infinity, he has a chance. That's what Haman was thinking. So what happened? The Medrash is very precise. Medrash says, I don't know what Hashem wants. There is, so to speak, two ways of making this choice. You can make it based on logic, or you can say, I don't care. If you're talking about the way Hashem contracts his light, he cares. He's impacted by our deeds, and therefore he chooses, or he decides, not the word choice, let's use the word choice for later. There's a decision, there's a consequence based upon the actions of the Jewish people. And they're righteous, and even the worst of us are full of mitzvah like a pomegranate. So therefore, there's a decision made to favor the Jewish people. That's from the perspective of logic. Then there's a perspective of infinity. The perspective of infinity, there can't be a choice. There can't be one that's favored over the other. It can't be, because compared to infinity, why is one better than the other? It's not just that there is no way of choosing. It's that you can't really choose, because from the perspective of infinity, you're removed. Doesn't matter to you. It's totally insignificant. And that's why the real meaning of choice only applies to Hashem, because only for Hashem himself can we really say that everything is totally insignificant. And yet, although from the perspective of infinity, there can't be a choice, there still is a choice. Why? Why is there a choice? If it's infinite, there shouldn't be a choice. It's insignificant. The reason there's a choice is because Hashem is not limited to being limited. He's not limited to being unlimited either. He's not limited to being beyond. If he had to be beyond, if he had to be infinite, then you can't choose. But he's not limited to being infinite either. And Hashem says, despite the fact that I'm infinite, despite the fact that this should not make a difference to me, I really am making a choice over here. And therefore, why is there a choice being made? If there's a lottery, the choice is being made because of the lottery, not because of me, because it could go either way. So whatever, we'll just do one. It's not because of me, just it has to be a choice. It has to be a decision. But Hashem says, I'm making a choice. So who is making a choice? Hashem himself is making the choice. So it's not like how you learn the Medrash. When you look on the Medrash, you think that like the God is like this piece of ice that nothing matters to him, and he could choose either way, and it all doesn't matter. And he arbitrarily, we were lucky, he chose the Jewish people and he chose the actions of the righteous, but the world from his perspective could have been as wonderful and magnificent to Hashem if it was ruled by ISIS. That's how the Medrash sounds like. Either we're going to have Mordechai or Haman, go either way. That's what it sounds like from the Medrash. But when we say that Hashem chose, the meaning of Hashem's choice is that there's a choice from his very core. His essence chooses. Esav is a brother to Yaakov. They're equal. And Hashem says, I'm making a choice from my very essence. It's not that it could go either way and I just happen to choose one way. It's not a weak choice. It's not an arbitrary choice. Rather, Hashem says, I love Yaakov and I hate Esav. It has to be this way. It's not because of the things that are going on. When there's a choice based upon logic, we learned yesterday that when you choose something because of logic, you're even more attached to the thing that you choose than if someone would hit you in the head and say choose one or two. If someone hits you in the head and says choose one or two, you're not as committed to your choice than when your logic says I have to choose this. Logic by a human being is a very strong thing, but it's still limited. Your choice is based upon how logical the decision is. Then is your level called desire, which is higher than choice, and it's even a greater attachment. You really want this thing, but there's a limitation to how much you want it. When there's a choice which comes from the very essence of the person, that's something which can't be any other way. There is no other possibility. It comes from because your very essence chooses this thing that you're choosing. So the Eibusher chooses to love Yaakov and to hate Esav. Where is that choice being made from? It's made from his very essence. It's not Hashem rolled the dice and happened to be, we're lucky. It had to be this way. What triggered this? What caused Hashem's choice in us to be revealed? So we learned yesterday it was because of the Mesiras Nefesh, because we chose Hashem. It says in the pasuk in Kisavei, Hashem hamircha hayom. Hashem chose you, and you chose Hashem. And as Medrash comments on this pasuk, you made me, Hashem says, to be unique in the world. I am also making you unique. The attachment of the Jewish people to the Eibusher is something which has no rationale, can't be explained. There is no similar attachment that exists in the world, period. There's no other similar kind of attachment. So because we express that attachment with our choice to choose to be close to Hashem, as the Medrash says one story about when Mordechai is learning with the children and Haman passes by and Mordechai tells the children, run away, I don't want you to be singed with my coal. I don't want you to be hurt when Haman comes to attack me. So they told Mordechai, we're with you dead or alive. That's what was revealed in Purim, our choice in Hashem. So because on Purim there was a revelation of our choice in Hashem, that also revealed Hashem's choice in us. That's what we're basically up to. And that explains why the Yontiv of Purim is called the lottery, because despite the fact that there was a lottery and things could go either way, still Hashem chose us. Then the Rebbe added another point, which is deeper than everything we said till now. The Rebbe adds one more point. What did the Rebbe say? The Rebbe said, if you look at the Megillah, it doesn't just say, therefore these are called Purim because of the lottery. Rather, it says they're called Purim because of the lottery of Haman. In other words, why is it that the Eibush made a reality of a Haman, and Haman would make a lottery to begin with? In other words, why is it that there is a level beyond the spiritual cosmos to begin with? Why is there a level called infinity? What do we need infinity for? Why was Hashem reacting to the world in a way of infinity, in a way of him, so to speak, being asleep and everything that is the same thing, and allowing Achashverosh to rise to power, and allowing there to be a Haman make a decree against us? What was the whole point of that? Well, the reason for this was Hu HaGoyrol, because Hashem wanted to reveal. It came the time in history to reveal how Hashem loves us. That was the whole reason he made it in the first place. The reason why there was in this infinite revelation, which things could go either way, and to begin with, was only in order for Hashem to choose us and to say, I love Yaakov. That's why there was a scenario in the first place. It was only to reveal Hashem's choice in the Jewish people. And that explains also why the lottery falls out in the month of Adar. Why does it fall in the month of Adar? Why does it fall on Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday? It's all in order to reveal Hashem's choice in us. Let's continue inside the Maimer from where we're up to. We are in the last PDF that I sent. We are on page let's start from the beginning of Estes. And this is what the Megillah means when it says, therefore these days are called Purim because of the lottery. It's on page Tezayin. The way the lottery came out was according to the intent and the decision and the choice of Atzmus. God's essence. Although Esav is a brother to Yaakov, and Kolmo came, God still says, I love Yaakov and I hate Esav. And through the sacrifice of the Jewish people throughout the year. Elsewhere, Chassidus points out that the word year comes to the word changes. It's easy to have Mesiras Nefesh, in certain scenarios when there's a mitzvah that, that you like that mitzvah. It's Pesach and I'm Mesiras Nefesh. But if it's Purim or it's Chanukah, it's not your Yontif, so then you're still going to show up. That the fact that you still do, no matter what the changes are, indicates we're talking about something really deep within you and that's unshakable. This sacrifice comes to the very core of the neshama. And that's the neshama. It's because of the choice of the essence, the neshama, Hashem's essence. That's why there's this unshakable bond with us and Hashem. I shouldn't use the word unshakable. Whenever I think of the word unshakable, I think of the false narrative of American U.S. What's it called? The unshakable bond of Israel and the United States. Unshakable unless you want to shake it. So, but Afal became nevertheless comes this the Yontiv of Purim. The Eibush reveals how he chooses us despite whatever the political climate is. Anyways, ideas through our choice in Hashem that reveals Hashem's choice in us. And that caused the Jewish people should have light and joy, gladness and honor. And Haman and his children were hung on a tree. And the pasuk emphasizes the why is there a holiday? It's because of that lottery. Which lottery? It's because the lottery that Haman made Hey, once the miracle happened, we could see the whole point to begin with why there was a decree against us was only in order to reveal Hashem's choice in us. And that explains why the lottery fell out in the month of Adar. The month in which the Savior, the Jewish people, was born, meaning Moshe Rabbeinu. The whole point of the lottery to begin with was in order to reveal that even the lottery itself, although the lottery itself could go both ways. Not only could it go both ways, but it seems like that Haman's making this lottery for the intent of destroying us. And that was the cause of the decree against the Jewish people. But what's the inner meaning of the lottery? The whole point of the lottery was the choice of Hashem, the Jewish people. I love Yaakov and Esav. That's the inner meaning of the lottery. And so too is this true regarding to the tree. It says that Haman prepared a tree to hang Mordechai on, and he prepared the tree for him. The Megillah says it was for him with the pronoun without saying who it was for, because it was actually for him, for Haman himself. Why did he make a tree that was 50 amas high? Next page, why did he want it to be 50 amas high? Why 50? What was he thinking? He wanted to reach the level which is called the Shar Hanun, the 50th gate, at the level, the 50th gate, which represents, which is a level beyond the spiritual cosmos. At that level, darkness and light are equal. And the miracle of Purim was even on that level, even the level of infinity where it seems it can go either way. Still, what happens? Not Mordechai is hung, instead Haman is hung. And then it was revealed that why did he make the tree in the first place? Why did he make this gallows? He made the gallows for himself. It was revealed the whole point of the gallows was for him. Purim. That's what Purim is about. That's the whole essence of Purim. This is the truest meaning and the essence of what Purim is. Then on the days of Purim every single year, Nimshach, Shagam, Bedargas HaPur, Shomai Neshtalshulos, Yeh Bechiv Charlonas Nachos Senes Gon Yaakov, that even the level of Purim, even the level which is beyond the spiritual cosmos, even the level which of infinity, where it seems at that level things can go both ways, still we ask, and it's revealed and it happens on Purim, Hashem should choose our inheritance, Hashem should choose to strengthen Yaakov, and Hashem should choose to destroy Amalek with a complete Geula, Bakarim Mamish. Okay, that's the mimer. Any questions? Any comments? Any criticism?
I have a question, Rabbi.
Yes.
So is there a connection, like we have Purim named after this bad thing that's happening, possibly. You also have the same thing with Balak, right? His name for somebody who wanted to curse the Jews. Is there any similarity there? We have a portion of the Torah that's named for somebody who wants to curse us, God forbid.
Let's get to Parshas Balak and we'll. Parshas Balak actually is all about Avos Yisrael. You know how Parshas Balak is about Avos Yisrael. Because Balak is Rosh Tevis. Balak is an acronym for V'ahavta Re'echa Kamecha. Balak means is an acronym for you should love your neighbor like yourself. Vez is I. It says Vez. Vez is not the letter that starts the word V'ahavta. Vav starts V'ahavta. When it comes to Avos Yisrael, you shouldn't pay attention so much. So judgmental. V'ahavta Kamecha. It's a Vez. It's a Vav. The guy did this to me. Did that to me. Avos Yisrael. So, in a similar way, to answer Matuka's question, the meaning of Hashem choosing us is that although externally we are the same as Esav, there's nothing good about us compared to Esav because we're talking about a level of infinity, still the Eibusha chooses us anyways. The Eibusha loves us anyways. Esav and Yaakov are brothers. They're the same. And still the Eibusher says, I choose Yaakov. It's my choice. I don't have to. It's not, logic doesn't say this. Logic will say they're the same from that perspective of infinity. But the Eibusher says, I choose Yaakov anyways. But yes, Ari, there's a lot of sikhs about how Balak and is connected also to whatever you find something low in the world. It points out how in order for that low existence to be there, it had to be something infinite to be a source for. All right, a great day, Rabbi, great day, Jonathan, great day, Dr. Bressman. Oh, Dr. Bressman, you're ready and willing to ask a question. Go ahead.
Yes. How would you relate this concept to the Gentiles without offending people and trying to give them some explanation of who we are? How do you explain this holiday to people other than Jewish people?
Look a little at Mark Twain. You know, Mark Twain talks about how the phenomena of the Jewish people and they survived, and it's something special about us. And he was very impressed with our survival, and he pointed out to some qualities that we have that indicate the miracle of our survival. So he pointed out some virtues that we have that portray this. Now we're talking the Maimer deeper. We're going a little step deeper, saying even though we don't have any virtues, but I think even a non-Jew could relate to something special about Jews, looking at the miracle of our survival.
Yeah, I know he visited Israel, and I remember one Mark Twain quote, and it goes something like, "Life, if it isn't one thing." I'm going to scroll.
Don't worry. If I know Mark Twain is called Baruch Newfield, he's sending me every day more quotes of Mark Twain and the Jews. Mr. Hashem. I'll forward you some of the stuff he sent me.
Okay.
All right. Have a great Dr. Bressman, Dr. Beryl, great Dr. Ari, great Dr. David, have a great Dr. Matuka. Tzachar Rabba.